already made two lovely summer dresses using the fabric from a quilt cover set. Today I'm planning to use this blue butterfly quilt cover fabric to make yet another dress, though this dress is going to be a slightly different style to the one I'm already wearing. This is the top of a double quilt cover set, the top side I suppose, and this other plainer butterfly fabric is the reverse of the quilt cover. So I have two big sheets of 2 meters by 2 meters of wonderful fabric to play with. For this one I have always envisaged a dress, and with the reverse of this quilt cover I plan to make some sort of blouse or shirt. As a quilt cover set, it did of course come with 2 pillowcases as well, so even more fabric to be playing with if I happen to run out. I don't think I'll be running out though. I think my 2 meters by 2 meters is going to be ample. Now with the dress I'm already wearing today, I did have a dress in my wardrobe of a similar style that I used as inspiration to get me started. I like it, I love it, I wear them lots, so why not make another one? And that has worked very well. So for today's butterfly dress, I also have a dress already in my wardrobe that I wear and love lots. So this is my choice of dress to copy. I think the butterfly fabric would suit this style of dress very nicely. We have a swooshy skirt that hangs about knee length. This is not quite a half circle skirt. There's a little less of a curve in it. And a relatively fitted bodice. I'm not keen on this crossover that happens here though. It fits me well and it looks very nice. But I'm always a little conscious of gaping happening here at this crossover at the front. So I want to change the bodice for the butterfly dress. I have another dress in a similar style but with a slightly different top. So I like the shape on this top neckline. So this is the sort of style I'm aiming to copy with my new butterfly dress. With that in mind, I decided I would invest in a pattern, mainly for the bodice of this dress. So I paid $10.99 on eBay for a pattern of a blousey shirt top. So I'm going to use this pattern to give me a bodice and use the shape of the skirt from this dress to give me the outline for a skirt to make, and I shall stitch the two together to make a dress. That's the plan anyway. Something I do need to be aware of when laying out my pattern pieces and deciding which parts to cut where is making sure that these butterflies and bees and flowery squirrely shapes are lying in the right direction. We don't want them upside down on my finished dress. Right, let's see if I can mark out some pattern pieces. Here's the fold in my duvet cover fabric. So if I bring the skirt panel over here and lay it on the fold line, so here is where I'll need to cut out the shape for the front panel of the skirt. And when I open it out, it'll be one piece of fabric. So as I said, this is folded in half. So I'll cut the fabric bigger than this. I need lower so I can extend the hem. So I'll cut 2 inches away all the way around, and I'll also go further out so I have a seam allowance for the finished skirt. So laying out my tape measure, if that's where I'm cutting the original dress, then I'll be able to lay the skirt on this side of the fabric, which is 2 layers deep, so I'll get 2 pieces with this shape on it. Hopefully I'll still have enough fabric left up here to make the bodice for the dress, but if not, we do still have those 2 pillowcases They're probably enough to make the bodice all by themselves. Remember, this is folded in half, so I have 2 pieces this size. Should be big enough. We'll find out. If not, I'll just have to make a skirt and a separate blouse with something else. I'm sure it'll fit. I have every confidence. Let's take a look at that shirt pattern and see what I need. So it's all going to fit. I just need to decide how I want the finished garment to be before I start cutting into the fabric. So we'll see you when I've cut out all my pieces and we're ready to start pinning things together, I think. And another thought that has crossed my mind, I could make a skirt and a separate top in this same fabric. Not actually stitch them together at the waistline to make a complete dress, but have 2 garments that I would wear together to look like a dress, even though they're actually separate pieces, which is very tempting. I like that idea. I think I might have to sleep on it and come back to this project tomorrow. I definitely want the big squishy skirt. So I think that'll be my first thing. Cut out the panels for the skirt and take it from there. Well, there we go. First skirt panel cut out. I wouldn't advise cutting out fabric on a bed. It just happens to be where I am. And a hard flat surface would be ideal, like a table or a floor. I've cut it long at the hem, one to give me a hemline to turn up. And I've also gone higher at the top of the skirt area on this dress, so that I have something to work with around the waistline. So off with the dress. And here's my first piece. This opens out on the seam line, so it's one big piece. But I'm not going to unfold it yet. I'm going to use this as a pattern piece for the other 2 panels I need. So now I'll have my 4 panels of skirt. Sorry, my 3 panels of skirt. Big panel for the front and 2 half panels for the back. So I've taken the 2 smaller panels that are going to be the back of the skirt, and I'm stitching one on each side of the big panel that was cut on the fold, and that's going to be the front of the skirt. Now, to stitch the seams on this skirt, I've started off by placing my fabric wrong side to wrong side and matching up the edge of my panelled pieces, and I've run a line of stitching along this edge. Next, I'm going to open the skirt out and iron this new seam nice and flat, and then I'm going to fold it over along the seam line and iron it again to make a nice sharp crisp edge, and finally run a line of stitching along this edge to seal everything in and give me a nice neat tidy finish. And on the other side I've already done that with this panel. So inside the skirt we get this sealed in seam, no raw edges, it's all nicely finished. On the outside, just a join in the fabric. I'm not sure if the camera can pick it up. There, the pattern changes there, you can see it better here. So now I'll go and finish off this second seam. So here we have the 3 panels of skirt stitched together. Basically ready to make into a skirt. I could at this point join that back seam and either give it a zip in the back or join it up at the front and run buttons right down the front like a shirt. Give it a waistband and a hem, and there we have a skirt ready. Now I'm not sure if I want to make it into a skirt independently on its own, or if I want to attach it to the bodice to make a dress, which had been my original concept, but I'm not sure which way I want to go with it now. So next I'm going to make up that bodice from the pattern, and once I've got the 2 pieces I'll decide if I want to join them together or finish them off into separates to wear together looking like a dress, or just have 2 separate items of clothing. What I've chosen to do with my nice new pattern is Rather than using the pattern directly onto my fabric, because it comes in a range of sizes you cut to fit, so I've taken a sheet of greaseproof paper and I've traced out the pattern to fit my size for me, and then cut that out. I've transferred all the various markings for notches and darts. So the greaseproof paper pattern is the one I'm going to use for my dress project. That way I still have the original pattern all complete, and I can use it again if I get fatter or thinner, or more likely I can use it for my daughter who's smaller than me. I've opened up the remainder of my fabric after cutting the skirt. So this scrappy piece is just a single layer of fabric, because I want to take a good look at the pattern. And the back panel goes on a fold. So I want to make sure that the fold in my fabric is either running along here, because this is a nice central pattern line, so I could place it there. It just fits, so that would work. And I'd much rather have my back panel running a centre line here with this line of bees and butterflies and these peacock looking feather swirls. So I'm going to fold and iron my fabric really neatly along this centre pattern line to make sure this piece goes there. And then with what's my front panels, that I'm definitely going to do in two pieces, so I can have one over here and one will just fit in over here. So that's the plan. Let's iron that crease and pin on this pattern. Now this is designed to have buttons down the centre because it would button up, and I want to actually give myself more fabric on this side of my pattern piece than the pattern suggests. I can always cut fabric away, but I can't glue it back on. So I'm going to cut this wide just to allow, when I start trying on and fitting the pieces, to make sure I have enough overlap in case it doesn't quite come round my bust. So I want plenty of fabric at the front to adjust to fit me. Okay, here goes. First try on. Let's see how things are looking. Now it should be a bit big at the moment because I've not really taken in all of the seam allowance. I just want to see how things are looking. It feels very large. It's all this excess at the front that I wanted, so I'm pleased about that. I've got lots of room to play across the bust. Where should it have been? Where that should be. That's pretty good, actually. I'm always nervous about things across the chest. They never quite give me enough room. But this is quite well marked up. And the back. We have a beautiful central line down the back with a mirror image. I can't see it. I've got my back to the camera, but I'm sure it looks great. I'm looking forward to seeing the playback. I can see what that looks like. Let's wrap the skirt round and see how things look. Ooh, getting a bit dress-like. Ah, dear. Blue butterfly dress. Lots of finishing work still to do. Looking very promising though. Happy. Oh, very pleased. A little adjusting and tailoring. This is going to be gorgeous. Yay! So now to add some darts that are marked in the pattern. There's a set at the front here that I haven't pinned in, and there's a couple of darts that go in the back, which is what will give this bodice piece its figure hugging shape. So that'll be a job for tomorrow, I think. Time to go make some supper. So bye for now, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm just playing around with things in the mirror and thinking, if I keep it as a two-piece, which I think is very possible, because I've left all this excess fabric at the front to play with, I'm able to, rather than having a set of buttons going straight down the middle, I can adjust this front panel, so it'll look, I don't know how well you can see actually, I put my hand under it, so I can have maybe a button here in the centre and then off to the side, and then a row of buttons going at an angle across the front of the bodice. A little row of silver buttons across the bodice at an angle. There's my seam line, it's going across that way, which will give more interest to the piece rather than just a straight line of buttons down the middle. And because of this angle, it gives you that inward figure hugging shape as well. It accentuates that figure hugging shape rather than straight down the middle. If I keep it as a two-piece, that's what I plan to do with the front fastenings. A couple of buttons across the top here and then a row right down at the angle. And that'll be nice. Right, time to cook some dinner. Good morning. Another day of sewing. It's a misty morning outside today, so perfect to be indoors sewing. So I've transferred the information from my pattern piece onto the fabric. Fabric chalk's a bit faint. So on this dart here, I have an end point there and an end point there. This is a double-ended dart, unlike the side bust darts that run off the end of the fabric and are simply a one point and then you stitch to the end, so you end up on the outside. These darts in the back have got two ends, so we've got an end here, a point, and an end here, a point, and they will get wider as we come to the middle. So we'll end up with a little flap of fabric like this. That's what we're going to stitch, which will give us, where have we gone? This one's all pinned. A little line in the back of our fabric and a nice waisting effect on the garment. Figure hugging waisted effect on the garment. So to make these darts, put these darts in place, I'm going to first fold my fabric from point to point, and I've actually drawn a pencil line along the middle as well for me to follow, and fold my fabric in half, and I'm going to press that line, because whether I make my darts deeper or shallower, that centre line is still going to be the centre line. It won't change. Then I can start adding some pins. So I'm going to put, I've got a mark here. I marked my fabric. This is the widest point of my dart. I'm pinning up at a slight angle because I'm aiming to that dot. So I'm going to go from this dot I've marked and come along here to this centre wide point is how my stitch line will travel. And then the same from the centre wide point, gradually getting nearer and nearer the edge till I meet the second dot of this dart. From the end point, the very, very end of this dart, bearing in mind I'm going at an angle, so my pin's going to go at an angle as well. Pin it in along that line. If I need to make these darts deeper, I'll draw my pins out. If I need more of a curve, I'll bring the pins out and widen this centre point. If I need less of a curve because it's too tight, I'll move my pins closer to this fold line. But these two end points are going to stay the same. I'm going to turn it round so I can put my pins in from the other direction. Where's my end gone? There. Right on the tip and in. That's that one dart all pinned up. So when I open up the fabric, there we have the little flappy bit that is the dart with its end point there and an end point there. And I'm going to do the same with all four darts in the back of this blouse. There. That's how our four back darts are looking, all pinned up. Lovely. So now to fit this on and see how it feels. Inside out, so I can adjust those darts, and also I don't prickle myself with all those pins. So that gives us a bit of shape here. And curve, I can see it kicking in at the back, which is nice. You can see your shoulder blades, and then out over the bottom. How's the back look? That'll be good, I can do that. Look at my video footage to see how we're looking. That's actually looking good. I could probably be just a little bit tighter. I'm wearing the, there, turn me around. How are we looking in the mirror? Nice. Now I could probably narrow these darts slightly. I think I'll take the front too actually. Just a little bit. Make them deeper. It seems to be fitting me very nicely, but I'm wearing it over the top of another garment, which generally I won't be doing. And I've still got a bit of, the back's nice. I just think I want these a bit deeper here, so I can gain from a gentle curve that I have here at the moment. If I deepen these darts, I'm going to get a more deeper, rounder curve, which is the shape I am. The back is really good. I'm liking that. Feels nice. So I'm going to adjust those darts a bit and then try this on in my underwear so that you don't get to see. Well, it looks good. So to adjust these front darts, make them deeper. I'm not going to change their point, that stays exactly the same. But in order to make it deeper, I can add a new set of pins slightly further in. Now a little tiny bit makes a big difference because it's making double this difference, because it'll be coming in a little tiny bit on the other side as well. Yes, I'm happy with that. Feeling nice. Looking good. So I'm going to stitch this up now. Stitch these darts in place. Stitch these darts in place. Iron it all. Then decide what I'm doing with that skirt. Am I going to attach it? Or am I going to finish the bottom of this as a top and finish the skirt? Let's get these darts stitched. That's the next stage. Ooh, and hold this together. So yes, definitely a top and a skirt. So now I'm going to do a bit of work on the skirt and see if I can salvage enough leftover fabric to make a waistband. So I've just managed to scrape together enough fabric to make a waistband. So this will be 2 panels for the outside of the waistband. And then I've got 2 more pieces of fabric that are just big enough to cover that and give me the inside of the waistband. So if I got really stretched, the inside of the waistband could have been made with a completely different fabric because you're not going to see the inside. But while I've got this and it just manages to fit, I'm going to use this. So just enough fabric left to make a waistband for that skirt. I've added a waistband and pinned up the hem. I'll go backwards, there we go, and pinned up the hem. So I just need to run the hem through the sewing machine and that'll be done. And put some buttons in my waistband. Day 3 and we're almost done. I've put the buttons on the skirt and the buttonholes yesterday evening, along with the top. Where's it gone? There. Oh, move the skirt out of the way. There we are. So not necessarily the neatest buttonholes in the world, but they're a lot neater than I would achieve using the sewing machine. I've also managed to, I used my embroidery cottons, so this buttonhole in the turquoisey B at the bottom, I've done with a turquoisey thread so it shows up less, and I've used different shades of blue for the rest of my buttonholes so they blend in nicely with the fabric. And added some buttons. Now I chose, every single button is slightly different. Now I do have sets of buttons and I could have done them all the same, but I've chosen to do a different button in every buttonhole space because I think that's interesting and fun. Though I have stuck to that same silvery shade for them all. So the only thing left to do with my little top is to run the sewing machine around this bottom hem. And then we're ready for photos and pictures. I've got scraps of fabric left. I haven't even got enough to make a scrunchie, I don't think. Or maybe, no, not really, there's nothing wide enough. I did manage to complete the project of the skirt and the blouse, and I haven't cut into the little fabric bag it came with, which is kind of cute. I still no idea what I'm going to do with these, but I like having them. And I still have my 2 pillowcases, and I'm really pleased about that because they're a lovely quality, heavy cotton and very pretty. And having spare pillowcases is so useful. Whenever you buy a quilt cover set, they generally come with 2 pillowcases. Well, I don't know about you, but I've got 4 pillows on my double bed, so 2 pillowcases is never enough. So having extras and spares is brilliant. Really useful, handy and nice to have. So that's my next task, stitch up the hem on my top, and we can take some photos and see how things look. And just before we jump to photo shoots, I've been loving the cut and fit of my top so much. I'm going to use my now edited pattern as a base starting point to make a waistcoaty top with the leftover fabric I have from my previous sewing project. And on my previous sewing project I made a summer dress using this leopards in the jungle fabric, and I had a big chunk left over. This was another quilt cover set. I want to use this fabric just to make a waistcoat to wear over the top of a white blouse. So I've used the back pattern piece from the top I've just made with the blue butterfly dress, and I've pinned up a waistcoat. Well, you can't see it, we're too far away, but I've pinned up the basic starting point for a waistcoat out of this leopard jungle fabric. So that previous quilt cover has been really good value for money. So here we have my finished dress, which isn't a dress at all. We're a skirt and a top. I'm really glad I made that choice as I was working my way through the construction of this outfit to keep them as separate pieces. It gives me lots more flexibility of my wardrobe choices. I can wear them together, they make a very nice dress, or as separates. And I'll show you my ideas for that in a moment. So out of my double quilt cover set, I've managed to make both a skirt and a top, and still have both pillowcases intact, which is wonderful, an extra bonus, and all of the fabric from the reverse of this quilt cover, a 2 metre by 2 metre square of fabric that I can make further garments from. It's not quite as heavy a cotton as this front panel has been, much more suited to shirts and blouses, but that'll be perfect. A really nice blousey shirt made out of that reverse butterfly fabric will be another wonderful addition to the wardrobe. And in the construction of this garment, I found something I really love is the back. These double darts in the back have given it a lovely shape, and I very much like the back panel. So we'll definitely be using that again in future blouses and waistcoats. So let's have a look and see how else I choose to wear my new clothes. So I already have this turquoisey blouse in my wardrobe and wear it lots, it's really nice. So I think this or a white shirt would be a good option to wear with my new flary butterfly skirt. So that's my first choice to go with this skirt. And my wonderful new blousey top goes beautifully with these white trousers. I'm really loving this as an outfit, and I'm going to carry on wearing this for the rest of today and go and visit my mum. So not bad. 3 choices of outfit from one side of a double quilt cover. So I'm really pleased. I'm loving this top. I love this skirt. And still stand by the fact it's probably the cheapest way to purchase any large volume of fabric. And if you had an enormous project and needed more fabric than that, buy 2 quilt cover sets. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. And hopefully you've been inspired to maybe have a go and make something beautiful for yourself. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And remember, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. So bye for now, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.